Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. It looks like I didn't actually finish reviewing all the Death Race movies. As I said in the Death Race 2050 review, I already looked at the original and the reboot trilogy. Except for the fact that after Death Race 2050, the so-called trilogy got a fourth movie in the series, Death Race Beyond Anarchy. Released in 2018, though going by the credits, the copyright was actually filed in 2016, which was the same year as the copyright filing for Death Race 2050, which came out in 2017. I feel like there's this Death Race tug of war going on behind the scenes. Either way, this is the reboot Death Race universe, so despite the fact that this race takes place over a vast swath of populated land, hey, that's actually a prison. It's a new thing they're trying, just tossing inmates into a walled-off penal colony. It's like Australia, but not as well thought out. Within these lands, however, are hundreds of thousands of convicts all held together by one thing: the Death Race. It's like every time this reboot series comes up, the Death Race itself is reimagined once again and inches closer and closer to just what it was in the original Death Race 2000. So, let's take a look at Death Race Beyond Anarchy and see if it at least gets close enough. We open up to a little backstory. Seems in this universe, 21.6% unemployment seems high, and as a result, crime rates skyrocket, and the government decides, let's just wall off 138 square miles to make a massive prison and just toss people in there. Seems the prisoners like this Death Race thing, though. Oh, well, now what the hell are we supposed to do in our no man's land of crime and insanity? Look, boys, the sign says no death race beyond this point. Looks like we gotta pack it in. Unsurprisingly, the opinions of the warden make abso-fucking-lutely no difference as the Death Race lives on, led by the true ruler of these lands, Frankenstein, played by Vyacheslav Pavlov and voiced by Nolan North. The winner of the race gets to be the king of the convicts, and as such, Frankie always participates and always annihilates. They also keep the broadcast going, despite the fact that this is super-duper illegal.
Is the race streaming on the dark web?
Yes, Warden. It's online in real time on Freenet, I2P, and Tor.
Oh no, not the dark web! Our moderator powers mean nothing there! Seriously, the government hackers just can't hack it. Can't shut down the stream, can't cut the power. I feel like the only reason they can keep them in prison is because we never address how they do it. We see that Liss is still on the payroll, still played by Frederick Kohler, and he's working alongside Danny Glover, who plays Baltimore Bob. They keep the funds flowing with a cut of the bets made illegally gambling in the illegal race. But there's a slight issue. Frankenstein is just too good.
Our margins are dropping because nobody's taking the other side of the bet. We're losing a lot of money on Frankenstein. We need to spice things up.
Oh, great. Now even the dark web broadcasts of Death Race are going to start shilling for Raid Shadow Legends. The police are far more interested in the death of Death Race, though, so they send in a SWAT team to kill everyone, mowing down the people. They move in search of Frankenstein.
Tell me we got cameras in there.
Yeah, we've got cameras everywhere.
What, just in case? Or before the Death Race was set up, was this prison designed as an even more fucked up version of Big Brother? Bob's main concern is keeping the masses entertained, and this little shakeup is just perfect. People are taking bets as to who will win, the SWAT team or Frankenstein. Not exactly the hardest thing to figure out when you consider they sent all of 9 fucking people against, 400,000 who easily surround the SWAT team, murdering the fuck out of them. But it's not over yet. We gotta bring in the big boys and their motherfucking chainsaws to really drive the point home that this was an incredibly stupid operation, no matter how you cut it.
You may be in charge out there, but this is my city. This is the sprawl.
Anyone else wondering why they don't just drone strike his ass? Maybe because that would make the movie too short, so instead, the warden, played by Cameron Jack, decides that if he can't just shoot Frankenstein, then he's gonna have to infiltrate the Death Race. Thus, on the next inmate airdrop into the sprawl, we have a handy-dandy Fed boy, Connor Gibson, played by Zach McGowan. The drop is simple. Every inmate will be given a little roll of silver coins and left to their own devices. Try not to die, okay? Dude, you had literally one job. No surprise, the population kinda knows these drops happen, and we're waiting on them. Those silver coins hold a lot of value. In this scene, at least, and Johnny Law, played by Nicholas Aaron, demands they hand them over as a landing tax. However, Gypsy Rose, played by Yenis Cheong, absolutely refuses, so they fight. Connor ends up picking up the slack and beating the crap out of each and every one of Johnny Law's goons.
Is this what you wanted?
Meaning they get to keep their silver coins. Which really don't seem to have all that much use. I mean, the movie does explain briefly why someone might want them, but we never actually see Connor use them for anything or have any use for them. But as Connor walks out in the open like an idiot, he is approached by another, Bexy, played by Cassie Clare. She's not happy that he beat the crap out of the criminal policeman, but when he says he's looking for Baltimore Bob, she offers him a ride to the garage bar. And I gotta mention real quick, as YouTube's policies nowadays like to consider censored nudity on the same level as just full-on nudity, I have been making a habit of just editing around the stuff and avoiding it entirely, but that does have the problem of occasionally a movie I present to you isn't presented exactly as accurately as it could be for what you're getting into, and this is a big example of one of those occasions, because there is a lot of nudity in this movie that I'm having to constantly edit around. Please be aware of that before you try turning this on for family movie night. I don't suggest it. And even if you're watching it with your adult friends, try and make sure they're okay with it first. So between the very impressive pole dancing by Bojana Nikolava, interspliced with random fucking, we see Connor make acquaintances with the bartender, Jane, played by Christine Marzano. She's not too impressed with him keeping this air of mystery as to exactly what he's in for, so we move on to him beating the crap out of two more of Frankenstein's men. Frankenstein then approaches and mentions that he isn't too impressed with Connor's tax evasion.
It's not my fault your boys weren't up to the fight they picked.
No, but did you have to break all their legs? His casual disregard for Frankenstein's authority does get him the attention of Baltimore Bob, so they can chat it up about races and death. And death races. And also, why exactly is this giant truck of food being attacked by the locals?
Meeting time. Disciples of Frank. They hijack the food shipment and control the supply. If you keep the populace hungry, they're easy to control.
Keep them hungry. Have you not heard of bread and circuses? Did you not watch Death Race? But how does one get in Death Race? Why, by going to a death match, of course. Some random trial in the death pit, presented by Frankenstein's main squeeze, Carly, played by Lucy Arden.
Our first contestant is all the way from New York City, New York. She's a killer and a thief and one sexy little piece of ass.
And is it just me, or does Carly sound an awful damn lot like Harley? But who will win this match? Gypsy Rose? Or perhaps one of the miscellaneous random faceless goons she's up against? Only one way to find out. They start a game of death motocross. This is like a death race, but with training wheels. Tiny track, and when you mess up, you are beaten to death by a bat-wielding gang. Also, I'm not entirely sure about the race part of this race qualification, considering when it's down to Gypsy and Guy, she just walks over and stabs the motherfucker, killing the shit out of him, and winning her spot in the death race. Finish line? What finish line?
Sleep on it. You still want death race tomorrow? We'll talk.
But I want a death race now! Can't rush too fast into this. Besides, we still need to finish setting up that love interest with Jane. She randomly invites the guy over to her little slice of heaven in this hell and regales to him the tale of what she did to get in here. Seems she was the victim of an abusive relationship that lasted years and years and years. 9 bullets in the motherfucker later, and the courts decided, let's throw her into the no man's land with the worst criminals in the world. Seems fair.
You still want to knock boots with me?
Never said I did.
Well, that's one way to see if she's still willing to kill a man. Somehow she allows him to stay after that one, and he can wake up bright and early the next day to be like, okay, Bob, slept on it, and I really think I need to death race. Bob is okay with helping, but points out just how badass he's gonna have to be to have a chance. Death race is for absolute degenerates. He needs to love nothing more than cars, speed, and murder.
And when you go to sleep at night, I mean that deep, real sleep, the sound of bullets whizzing past your head should give you comfort.
Well, that's just the tranquility of the Texas countryside. With that, Connor signs up for tonight's Death Pit. We can't be too samey, or samey at all. This Death Race qualifier hardly has anything to do with the vehicles at all. Just, beat the shit out of each other. Maim, murder, whatever it is you gotta do, as long as you're able to get to what's important.
The one person who gets that set of keys and sticks it in the ignition of that car.
You might be imagining a big fight going back and forth. Who has the keys? Where are the keys going? How close are they to the car? What do you do? But it's really just more simplified than that. You just have a big freaking battle royale, kill each other, and the last man standing just go get the keys and put them in the car. But it's super important as this death match is for the final spot in Death Race. If Connor fails here, he'll have to wait, another 2 weeks. And they're off, running forward briefly before they stop to beat the crap out of each other. Throats are slashed, nuts are punched, arms are broken, and the body count rises. Connor casually climbs the column, collecting the keys. Still one competitor left, so let's just kill him and get it over with. However, even though he's the final contestant and they really do need a final racer to make Death Race work, they spring a surprise! The Butcher, one of the chainsaw-wielding motherfuckers from earlier, played by Lyubomir Simonov. Theoretically, Connor could just run past him to the car, but may as well bludgeon the Butcher to death for good measure. Then we never actually see him put the keys in the car, so I don't know, maybe they'll just disqualify him. After a shower, where Carly shows up very, very naked, Connor is summoned over to Frankenstein's for a little chat. Frankenstein would like to know what exactly Connor wants out of potentially ruling the sprawl. Connor avoids the question, saying it's just about the race for him. But that's not going to fly in Death Race. The only way to have any hope to win is if you want to actually do something with the powers you are granted for your victory.
If you don't know what you want, you'll die on the track, and the sprawl will cheer your death. So the question is, what do you want?
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
No answer for him right now, but he does have an answer for Bexy. No! She's looking to be his co-pilot slash gunner slash navigator for Death Race, and he doesn't want to put her in danger. He also hasn't lined anyone else up for the job, so, yeah. Anyway, he's got more important things to take care of, like that romance subplot with Jane. Something about a big, strong man who keeps farting around exactly what he's in for because he never thought ahead enough to come up with that backstory for his quiet loner persona. Anyway, they still gotta build his car for Death Race.
What the hell's this thing?
Your tombstone. Bulletproof titanium plate. Protects your fuel cell.
Used to be the signature part of Frankenstein's car. Now it just seems like everyone has a fucking great value tombstone.
You got a navigator yet?
Hell yeah, he does. I'm the motherfucker riding shotgun.
And Bexy just won't quit trying to join the race. She wants to get back at Frankenstein because he hurt people that she cared about. Even though Connor himself has been here like a month and he's hurt plenty of people, many of which she knew. As he spent absolutely no time establishing anyone else who could possibly be the navigator, Connor begrudgingly agrees to allow Bexy to join up. With the power of a montage, they handcraft the baddest Death Race death machine that has ever machined death badly.
The speedometer has been calibrated at 200 miles per hour.
If that's all she's got?
Let's find out.
Hey, honestly, considering the amount of lead you're carrying, 200 miles per hour ain't bad. About that Death Race, though, we gotta cover how it works. First of all, 1 day, 1 lap. Kinda boring, but don't worry, they have the race split up into stages, which are pretty much sections, which are just creative names for certain stretches of road. It's like Outrun. Every stage plays the same, just with a different background. We go airfield, to highway, to the projects, and finally, the meatpacking district.
Driving is more important than killing. Shoot only when you must.
It's really less of a death race and more of a strongly worded letter race. So cross that finish line first and you win! But along the way, try not to get killed. With the death race but days away, Connor is spending more and more time with Jane. Their relationship works kinda like my YouTube career, just refuse to leave. But what's this? Come morning, Connor is surrounded by the inhabitants of the prison city. Seems Lists was doing a bit of research and found out that Connor was in fact a Fed boy all along.
Targeted killing is his forte, and I
and his mark.
Man, and he slipped by so well with his I just arrived and care about nothing but the death race strategy. Frankenstein wants to take this opportunity to show that his society of depravity is far more civilized than the so-called civilization outside, not just murdering Connor where he stands, but allowing him to participate in the death race. And kill him if he can.
So tell me, who's hiding behind the mask now? Me or you?
Not considering you just unmasked the guy. You, Frankenstein. Still. Jane, on the other hand, is considerably more distraught that her mysterious lover boy turned out to actually be a secret agent this time. But not all is lost.
I'm still running your pit crew. I don't care if they have sent you to kill him or not.
We didn't really spend any time establishing any other characters who could actually do the job, so let's just roll with it, okay? It'd be an awfully weird death race movie if we skipped the death race. On that note, it's time to introduce the racers. Johnny Law, Matilda the Hun, Gypsy Rose, Cleopatra. And then it seems like they just kind of phoned in the rest of the names, like the fireman, the guy with a pierced face, the Nazi bastard, the guy driving a hearse, dead man. And they don't even get this guy's name, just his vehicle, War Cycle.
And last, but definitely least, our resident rat fox, Sergeant Gibson.
And yet, somehow, at the end of it all, Connor's racing name is still the least creative. Bexy has also shown up. Yeah, Connor's an agent from the outside specifically sent to infiltrate the race and kill Frankenstein, but getting in the race and killing Frankenstein was kind of Bexy's goal from the get-go, and like I said, no other options for Navigator were even remotely discussed, so they join forces. Again! Oh, but by last but least, they also meant second last, as Frankenstein is also racing, but as a surprise, his Navigator will be Jane.
Let her go, Frank. She's got nothing to do with any of this.
No. But she's a good insurance policy.
Frankenstein may be a deranged homicidal killer, but he's not about to drive without insurance. So will Connor kill Frankenstein if this also means taking out his sweet piece of criminal ass? We'll see. As the race kicks off, they zoom down the airfield. And come to think of it, this is going to be a lot of racers to follow for this whole climax, so let's start killing them off. Gypsy Rose blows Cleopatra up before Bexy blasts the biker a bits with a bomb. But now we're getting to the highway where things are supposed to get really dangerous. Dead Man's hearse is taken out before Dead Man's Navigator as well.
Now that's a waste of some good pussy.
And I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to not mention that Matilda the Hun is played by Gisette Amos. For being such a minor role, she sure is a memorable one. But Connor has the chance to launch missiles at Frankenstein.
Don't do it.
Let her go, Connor. That skinny bitch ain't never coming back.
I said don't do it.
But in his time inside these walls, he has learned so much and found something that he never could before. Seems before he was the mysterious out-of-town guy, absolutely nobody wanted to have sex with him. After this, the Los Muertos show up, being a bunch of Los Mierdas, using the shittiest special effects of the entire movie to take out both Matilda the Hun and Pierced Face. Connor is also under fire, but it doesn't really get bad until Fireman fires the harpoon into Gibson's car. Oh well, this is Death Race, and has nothing you can't solve by gently driving over to a secluded area and stopping in the shadow so that everyone can get out and slowly sneak around in darkness for a while. Does anyone else remember the race going on? This isn't a big 3-day gauntlet, it's a lap. You better hurry the fuck up with this. It turns out that was gasoline, and they set fire to Fireman and Company. Just in time for the last half of the race, and the start of Stage 3, the extra dangerous, super dangerous danger race. Nazi bastard's car gets taken out, and he finds himself surrounded by minorities. Irony! Connor's really dragging ass though, so Bob reroutes him to a shortcut over the bridge that is out. But List says that the math shows that they should make it if they can get the car to at least 220 miles an hour, and they might live. First things first, gotta get past Johnny Law. Not exactly the outcome I was prepared for when you fight the law. But they can't quite push it past 209, so they dump the tombstone and fly through the air, smashing down! But fortunately, surviving. Thus, he catches up with Frankenstein for the home stretch. Agreeing to see this race out as a proper race, they tear through the meatpacking district, heading ever closer to the finish line. Up until Connor just fucking stops.
We're out of gas.
Revealing the secret 5th stage, the Death Marathon! Actually, it's just that the fuel line got cut along the way. Ah well, Frankenstein doesn't just zoom ahead, he positions himself right there in front of Connor. Only to get sideswiped by Gypsy Rose and fucking shot to death to boot. Surprise! She was an extra secret agent all along! Sent here with the same Frankenstein assassination mission as Connor, but considerably better at not only keeping it a secret, but actually pulling it off. Ah well, Gibson, job's done. Let's GTFO. But what's this? It seems that the dark web feed was conveniently cut just now. Bob tells Connor that the people need Frankenstein, and thus he needs to don the mask and become the legend. And so he does. The end. Ah, so it was a Man Goes Native story the whole time. Or, Become the Mask. Either way, that was Death Race Beyond Anarchy. Did the job. It's kind of funny seeing the reboot Death Race series drift further and further away from what it introduced, and seem to try and present a Death Race that is a lot closer to what we got in Death Race 2000, but because of the DNA of the world we've introduced, and possibly because Frederick Kohler is the one guy they can reliably bring back for the sequels, it always does so in these weird half-steps. Gotta make the prison even bigger, so let's have some societal collapse excuse for a prison that is effectively a city-state, but still a prison, but not. Well, it's surrounded by walls, far, far more walls than they could possibly guard, and you'd think that out of 500,000 criminals, one of them would have tried a prison break by now, but that's not the point of a Death Race. Yeah, the world building isn't exactly having the best time with my suspension of disbelief here, but at this point in the series, the reasons they can think of to have the Death Race really aren't nearly as important as the Death Race itself, and in that respect, this ain't bad. The action is impressive enough, even if many of the shots do rely on extreme close-up shaky cam #excitement, and while the world building is ridiculous, the world itself is entertaining. More so if you like staring at naked ladies all day long and don't give a damn if it helps the plot or not. Fortunately for me, it didn't, and I can easily edit around all of that, but yeah, don't let this review fool you. If a scene can have tits in it, it probably does. We also got a bit of a different Frankenstein this time around. This one, he's kind of a jerk. Things are kept mysterious enough, even after the mask is removed, we still don't see his face, but he rules this place with an iron fist, and we just gotta take him at his word that it was totally worse before he came along. Really. At the end of the day, Death Race Beyond Anarchy is a massive shakeup for the reboot series setting that somehow gives us a very by-the-numbers story. Characters do their jobs, some are more entertaining to watch than others, people keep dying and people keep racing, coming in at 3 rolls of silver coins that... Hey, what were these good for again? Out of 5. Not phenomenal storytelling, but still an entertaining movie for the 2 hours it gives us, and that's really all I was trying to do. Thank you all for watching. I'm Decker Shado. And remember, never drive without insurance.
Inspiration.com